Aquarius, welcome to Moonbeam's Messages. This is your collective reading. Now, as this is collective, not everything will resonate, so please only take what resonates and leave what doesn't. If you don't find any messages in this for yourself, then please check your other placements where you're likely to find a message in there. Now, this is going to be about love, work, what obstacles are coming up, and the strengths that you've got to overcome those obstacles, and what lesson you'll be learning from this particular phase of life. So let's get into this. Spirit, can we get 3 more cards, please? Okie dokie. So in love, then we have a 9 of Swords. So you are not having the best time in love at the moment. That 9 of Swords is telling me that you were very stressed, very anxious, very worried, losing sleep. Very much possibly whether this is about something that's old and you're repeating things in your head, maybe having bad dreams about it, and it's keeping you stuck, or whether this is just you're worried and stressed and anxious that a new person is going to treat you like an old person. Let's get some clarity on this 9 of Swords, please, Spirit. Okay. So, yeah, it's not looking the best. We've got a Knight of Cups in the reverse. So you don't particularly trust, if you're with someone, you don't trust them. If you're not with someone, you don't trust your emotions at this point in time, and you are not really wanting to move into a relationship. Um, if you are with someone, you don't feel like their emotions are with it, that you don't feel like things are going to progress. You're not convinced that they are potentially being faithful. We do have a 10 of Pentacles. The home life with this is not particularly stable. It's quite unhappy. If you are very much, maybe you've come out of a relationship and you basically you might have lost a home. You don't feel stable at the moment. It feels to me like you don't have any kind of family traditions. You've got nothing there. It just looks like it's very unhappy and it's not really stable. Now that could be that you're not in a position to offer somebody a relationship. It could be that things have happened and you've ended up losing, um, like I say, losing a home, losing finances, losing stability. We do have a tower here, so you're trying to hold on to something, and it's a very slow burning tower. There is a big change that is happening, but it's just taking a while. Um, it does look to me very much like this is a bit of a slow burner. It's not anything massive that's going on. It's not a massive ending to something that it looks so the massive ending's already happened. It's just it looks as though it's your beliefs, your thought patterns, they're kind of changing around. So maybe what you thought about love, what you felt about a particular person, things that you believed about them, it's all starting to change. You may be seeing people in a different light. You could very well be not necessarily seeing what you thought a Ten of Pentacles was. Whatever you thought that Ten of Pentacles was to you when it is in the upright is your happy home, stability. It could just be that you're changing your mind on whatever you see that as. Maybe what you wanted previously is no longer what you would consider that as. But there's definitely some sort of transition and some change that is going on for you. And it looks to me like it's more about feelings and beliefs. Now, work, we have a King of Pentacles in the reverse. So it is telling me you are very, very good at your job, but you might not be getting paid the right amount of money for it. So you might be underpaid, overworked, underpaid, that kind of old malarkey. Now it could just be that you Might be in a little bit of debt as well. So even though you're working, you've got a good job, you might be paying off debt, so you don't really have that money. King of Pentacles is lacking, when he's in the reverse, he's lacking a little bit of stability. Now, you could be a female with this, gender's fluid in tarot. It's just personality traits. Yeah, so it does suggest to me that you're very good. Maybe the job isn't particularly stable that you're in at the moment. Yeah, it looks like you're looking for something else anyway. We've got a Four of Cups here. You're very much looking elsewhere to see if there's something else. Looking to see where else could you work? Is there better jobs out there for you? Something that's more going to be more emotionally fulfilling. We have a Six of Cups in the reverse. So you might have been in this job for a while, or it could even be looking that you might be looking to go back to an old job, to be completely honest with you. You might even find that there could be somebody from the past might be offering you a job, somebody that you might know. And then they might be trying to poach you, trying to say, look, we've got something that you might prefer over here. It does definitely suggest to me that you are definitely considering moving away from where you're working at the moment. Now, if this Six of Cups is about the job that you're currently in, because it's, your past job, for instance, it could be that you're feeling very out of love with it. You're looking at it as in a quite harsh light at the moment. We do have a Two of Swords here, which is telling me that you are potentially being forced into making a decision very quickly. Um, Now it's a decision that you're not going to be able to consider anybody else in. It is a decision that you need to make all on your own, but it's like you don't necessarily know all of the information to make that decision. And it feels like you're being rushed. So it could very well be, like I say, if you've got somebody from the past offering you a job, they might be saying to you, you need to make that decision. I need someone to start like now. Um, so it could very well be that you're being pressured into picking up a new job. Now, in what obstacles have you got coming up? We've got an Eight of Wands in the reverse. So there's a bit of miscommunication or a lack of communication here that is a big blockage and obstacle for you. Let's get clarification on what that is. Eight of Wands, Spirit. Okay. So we've got a Seven of Pentacles. So something that you've set in motion. Divine timing. A Two of Cups in the reverse and a Page of Wands in the reverse. Okay, so to me, this looks a little bit like something you're waiting to come to fruition. Maybe you're waiting for a bit of payout. You've probably put in a lot of effort somewhere and you're waiting for it to grow, to like reciprocate. It's that whole reap what you sow kind of energy. Um, it feels like you might miscommunicate about receiving or getting back. So whether that is a case of you've done a lot of work, you try and approach your boss and you ask for a pay rise because you've done X, Y, and Z, it suggests that you might be either stuck waiting because you're being very patient here, waiting, and there's no movement, or you could just miscommunicate how you try and approach it. I feel like the obstacle is more about patiently waiting for something. We've got the Wheel of Fortune here, which is telling me everything is going to happen in divine timing. So it does look as though your obstacle is more about patience and making sure that you are using your patience and everything's going to happen when it needs to. We have a Two of Cups in the reverse, which is telling me you don't like waiting. It could make you feel very uncomfortable. We've also got a Page of Wands here, which is again about talking about waiting. He's not moving. This could very much be a falling out with a particular person. It could have something to do with what's going over here with love. It could have something to do with work because you've got a lot of cups here. It's very much patiently waiting for an outcome and you having a big falling out because you don't want to wait. Now, as weird as it sounds, it could be that whoever is pressuring you to make a hasty decision doesn't want to wait. And that could be what is going on here. It could be that you end up having a falling out because they don't want to be patient. It could very well be that you're just waiting to see how things that you've already put out into the world are going to come into you and they don't want to wait around and it causes a bit of an upset and falling out. But yeah, timing and waiting patiently is very much an obstacle here. Now, with this Page of Wands in the reverse as well, it does also suggest that there could be a little bit of a lie told here too. Maybe not a lie, but somebody's going to act without integrity because of a misunderstanding or a falling out. Now, how you can get over this, we've got a Seven of Swords in the reverse. So your strength is to be clear and honest and communicate fully. So make sure that you're being open and honest with decisions, with what you want, with any kind of communication. So if there's a reason that you don't want to make a decision, make sure you communicate that and tell them. If you're waiting patiently for something to come through, make sure that you tell them. It's not being quiet, not communicating it. You need to be communicating it out. And let's get some clarity on this Seven of Swords. So we've got a Three of Pentacles. So making sure that you're working as a team. So definitely communicating so that you can work together. It could just be that you're waiting for a particular thing to come through. So we've just had some cards turn. You could be waiting for a particular job offer to come through. You could just be waiting for a payout from work. Whatever it is you're waiting for, make sure you communicate it because it looks as though, you can then work together with someone. Now, if it's something where this person might be, wanting you to jump into getting a job, picking it up really quick, it could just literally be that you need to communicate. Well, I can't at the moment. I've got to work my notice, everything else. And then it's very much you working together. Weirdly, I've got Three of Cups on the bottom. So there's a lot of threes out here. So keep an eye out for your signs and synchronicities. You could have a message from Spirit or your angel guides to keep you on the right path. But yeah, so making sure you're working as a team when you're communicating out. You don't always have to take the lead. We've got an Emperor in the reverse, so it's okay to release the lead on things. You don't have to be in charge of stuff. It's suggesting that it's absolutely fine. One of your strengths is actually to not lead all the time. You don't have to be in control of everything. Sometimes it's just as easy to let other people take the lead on things. And it does look as though that's going to be a good strength here. So it could be that you're learning something new and working with someone and you're going to let them take the lead on it. We have the Queen of Swords. So again, talking about clear communication, cutting out what isn't serving you as well, making sure that you can sniff out crap kind of thing. If somebody's lying, make sure that you cut it off so that they get caught basically. And then we have the Lovers here. Now this is very much about making choices, making sure that you're making a good choice and that you're happy with the choice that you make. It could be about a person. It could very well be knowing, following your heart, following your passion. and making that choice about a person, making sure that whatever it is that you want, you clearly communicate. And if it's that you want a partnership with someone, that you clearly communicate that you want that partnership with somebody and that you're happy to work on it with them. So it could very much be over here, where you've had this Knight of Cups, not necessarily trusting someone's feelings. Maybe you thought that somebody was, you know, being a little bit of a player. It could be very much that, you could very much need to work on it, not doing something your way, letting them take the lead, or even getting somebody else involved. The Queen of Swords could even be somebody else, like a counselor, for instance, that listens and gives guidance. So it could be something along those lines where you go and seek help from someone in order to strengthen a bond. Now, from what I can see, the lesson that you're going to be learning from this is all about choices. We've got a lovers in the reverse there. So this is about either making a bad choice that you're learning a lesson about or about falling out with your partner. My guess is that it's all about communicating is what you're going to be learning with regards to your choices. We get some cards, please, Spirit, for the lovers in reverse. So an Eight of Pentacles. So making sure you put in the work and the effort. The Empress in the reverse. King of Wands. So to me, this is very much suggesting that whatever choice you make sure that you put in a lot of effort. Make sure that you work hard at whatever it is. Even if you feel like it's the wrong choice or you realize that you've made the wrong choice afterwards, as long as you've put in all of the effort that you need to and you've worked hard on doing that, even if it doesn't go your way and things don't blossom, um, you know, and you feel like things haven't worked, having confidence that you've done everything you possibly could have to make that work is going to basically it's going to help you learn a massive lesson. And it's very much about learning that there are no wrong choices, they're just lessons. You know, yes, it could be that you've fallen out with somebody, but as long as you've put in the work and you've done what you need to try and make it work, and as long as you've got confidence in doing what you're doing and you've got integrity while you're doing it, and you're very passionate about making it move forward and about putting in that effort, you know, you don't you don't need to worry because as long as you've put that effort in, e- even if it's emotionally overwhelming because you're doing so much, you know, it might still feel like you've picked the wrong thing, but as long as you've done everything you possibly can, then it's just a big lesson for you to learn because it's all about putting in the effort. Yes, certain things will fail sometimes. Yes, you could feel like you've made a wrong decision, but ultimately it was the right decision at that time. And it's just that you've had something to learn. It's very much about you learning that certain lessons have to be learned. And you only learn lessons from things that you generally feel are a bad choice. So when things go wrong, that's when you learn the most valuable lessons. And it's very much telling me that you might not be in a particularly great headspace. You might feel like certain things have not gone in your favor. You could be falling out with partners, but it's telling me that you need to, as long as you're working on it and you've got confidence that you're doing everything you possibly can, that's all that you need to do. That's all you can do. You just need to make sure that you do everything you possibly can to work on it, and that's literally all you can do. Okay? Because at the end of the day, in a partnership, there's two of you. As long as you're doing everything you can do, if it still falls apart because the other person isn't putting anything in and isn't doing everything they can do, then it still falls apart. And even if they are and it still falls apart, it just means it wasn't meant to be. Right, let's get you some oracles. So we've got your mind, your body, and your soul. So very much aligning those. And then let this be your sign. I'm not quite sure what sign that is. Maybe it's just let it be your sign to start connecting your mind, body, and soul. Or the sign to realize that it's absolutely fine to do what you can. And then we've got crown activation. So you potentially could be having a lot of downloads going on in your crown chakra. So it's very much worth listening, maybe doing some meditation if you haven't been. Right, we've got angels of abundance then. We've got organized for success and an abundance mindset. So organized for success then, do not let the word organize intimidate you, as it is simply a way for you to ensure clarity of purpose. Organizing your thoughts, your reports, your living and workspace, and your finances will help you know and plan your next action steps. And then abundance mindset. If you think of your abundance as something that happens in the future, then it will always be one day away from you. See, feel, think, and speak of abundance as something you already have in the present moment, and that is what you will experience. And that's very much going in line with this mind, body, and soul. And if you have a look at this particular picture, look, all of his chakras are lit up as well. Right, I hope you enjoyed your reading today, Aquarius. If you did, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. It will help pass the message on to anyone else that needs to hear it. And if you want to hear more from me and you haven't subscribed already, if you press that subscription button and press the notification bell, it will let you know when I do post new content. Thank you very much for joining me and good luck.